Hi, it's John, and welcome to the channel. 4:42 a.m. Saturday, September the 6th. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend, and I've got a look of grim satisfaction on my face today. By the way, I haven't forgot, I do have my big blue mug of coffee, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please click on subscribe. Thank you very much. So why do I have a look of grim satisfaction on my face? I've said it here before. I plan on using this phrase more often. Canada's demise will result in Alberta's rise. And the rise is the independence movement here in Alberta. And yesterday, the independence movement in Alberta got a boost because I heard one of the grimmest speeches from a Prime Minister of Canada ever in my life. It hasn't really been reported as being a complete and utter admission of failure by Mark Carney yesterday, but that's exactly what it was. Yesterday, he announced that unemployment is up. We got some bad unemployment numbers yesterday. He announced that they're going to get higher. He didn't announce what he could do immediately to solve the problem, which I'll get to in just a moment. He announced that the government is going to try to spend its way out of this problem. He announced that he has totally failed when it comes to negotiations with Donald Trump. I wonder why we haven't had an update on that from the Prime Minister. We do not know where that stands right now. But he announced that things are very bad. He also announced that he's willing to bail out the East. And he announced yesterday, without saying the words, that he gave Alberta a big f*** you yesterday because there is a solution to all of Canada's problems. And I might show a little clip of Danielle Smith to prove it in just a moment. But listen to the words to start this news conference yesterday. Things are very bad right now. I called this the Canada is over speech.
What's going on is not a transition. It's a rupture. And its effect will be profound. Workers displaced from their jobs. Supply chains that have existed for decades disrupted. Companies forced to change where they find their materials and their products. And all of this is causing an extreme uncertainty that's holding back massive amounts of investment and, as a consequence, slowing economic growth.
Pretty grim. He's talking here about the issues with Donald Trump in the United States. He's got to rally his base in their hatred of Donald Trump. Crisis is the rallying cry of the tyrant, as James Madison said. But that's all he's got now, folks, because he's failing. And this whole speech was about him failing. I think the tariffs play right into his hands. He can reimagine Canada's economy in his vision. He can manage the decline. And I watched a video this morning from the Unacceptable Fringe about this, link in the description, talking exactly about this. But then he gets into the job numbers. He refers to bad job numbers. Here are the numbers right here. This is the CBC. Canadian economy bled 66,000 jobs in August as unemployment rate at its highest since pandemic days. Here's what he had to say about unemployment. And folks, it's just going to get worse.
Just this morning, we see the impact in today's employment report in Canada, with unemployment rising across regions and sectors. This makes decisive action crucial.
When liberals say they have to take decisive action, it means they're going to spend a lot more of your money. And we're going to get back to unemployment because things are going to get a lot worse. There is something he could do right now to help alleviate this problem, but he's announced within the last 24 hours he's not willing to do it.
Part of what we will be discussing, how well the temporary foreign worker program is working and how our overall immigration system is working. When I talk to businesses around the country, particularly in Quebec, but elsewhere across the country, their number one issue is tariffs, and their number two issue is access to temporary foreign workers.
He could end the temporary foreign worker program right now, cut immigration to a bare minimum so Canadians have more jobs, but he's not willing to do that. I wonder why. And then he says the solution to all our problems is just to buy Canadian out of it. And it ain't going to work, folks. Here's what he had to say.
This disruption calls for a bold new approach. And given, as Minister Joly said, given that we can't control what other nations do, Canada's government is focused on what we can control. And that means building our strength at home, building Canada strong. That means giving our workers and our companies the tools they need, retraining our workers, transforming our strategic sectors, creating entirely new industries, and being our own best customer by buying Canadian.
We can't buy Canadian out of this problem. Canada is an exporting nation, and 3/4 of our exports go to the United States of America. And he hasn't been able to solve the tariff problems with the United States of America. So now he announces that we're going to have new training for people who are out of work. Why? Because there's going to be more people out of work. Not only that, they're going to be out of work for longer.
And finally, we'll adapt employment insurance to provide a bridge to laid-off workers, giving them the time they will need to pivot. This will include providing long-tenured workers with up to 65 weeks of benefits. That's 20 more weeks than they have access to today. And we'll waive the 1-week waiting period for over 700,000 claimants.
He then announces that Canadian taxpayers are going to bail out companies that fail, and there's going to be more of them to the tune of $5 billion, which we don't have. And then he says he's going to bail out the East, and he never mentioned Alberta, but as far as I'm concerned, he gave Alberta one of these yesterday during this news conference.
And it's not all about money. Some of it is about regulation. So to add flexibility to the automotive sector, we will remove the 2026 electric vehicle availability standard, which specifies the share of new vehicle sales that must be electric next year.
So he announces he's getting rid of the EV mandate to save the automotive industry in vote-rich Ontario. Meanwhile, out here in Alberta, Danielle Smith has got the solution to all the problems of the country, and he won't get rid of regulations she's been screaming about for the last 6 months.
And one more thing, we literally live on top of more than 1 trillion barrels of oil and more than 1 quadrillion cubic feet of natural gas. These oil and gas resources represent an astounding tens of trillions of dollars in potential wealth for our country. That means hundreds of thousands of new great paying jobs, hundreds of billions in taxes and royalties for government services and infrastructure, and potentially trillions more in spin-off industries like AI data centers, petrochemicals, environmental technology, and a host of other industries that would benefit profoundly from the wealth generated from its development. Oil and gas is not only Canada's largest economic sector, it's Canada's trump card, so to speak. It makes us a potential economic superpower.
Trillions of dollars literally under my feet where I sit here in Southeast Calgary right now, and this son of a bitch won't get rid of the regulations, 69, 48, emissions caps, so that we can unleash the power of my province of Alberta. Screw the West, we'll take the rest. Mr. Net Zero, Mark Carney. Canada, folks, is over. Canada's demise will result in Alberta's rise, the rise of independence. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.